Good morning to the Wilhelmy School of Organ Building. Okay, today we've got an intriguing, or not today, it shouldn't occupy us that long, but we've got an intriguing issue of making some replacement buffers. These come from the end of some large solenoids, well this one comes, and there are several missing, and even the existing ones are a little bit on the noisy side. You can see there's quite a large pusher in the middle, 1 inch diameter actually, and this is the hole is slightly bigger. Anyway, so I came up because I want to make things better than what I find. I do not know why, but this is just a thought that I think that's a thought that was started actually in South Africa. After my apprenticeship, I worked for a couple of years at the company where I learned, and I just thoroughly loved it. And then I went to gain some additional experience to the end of the world, as I called it, which happened to be a little organ builder in South Africa. And it was amazing to be there. And he opened up my eyes because I really paid attention during my apprenticeship, and I loved to soak in everything that I was taught. But then there came the next step down in South Africa, because this gentleman, he wanted to know, so how did you do things at Riga Organ Building, you know? And I would explain to him just fairly exuberantly, oh, this is how we do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, the reeds and the voicing and the shallot making and the shaping of this and that and casting metal and the machining of the metal and so on. And okay, whatever the topic was, let's say, like, yeah, so how do you make this thing? Let's say if he would have asked, okay, so how did you make these things at Riga? I would explain, blah, 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 blah. And then he would interject when I run out of breath. He would say, why? I said, huh? Yeah, he said, why? Why do you make it this way? Why don't you make it round? Why do you make it out of this material? Why not a different material? Why do you make the hole this size and not a different size? Or why do you use this tool to cut or shape it instead of? So he wanted to know why. He not wanting for me to question what I had learned or introduce me to a different way of doing it, but actually through his questioning why, he made me understand why the company where I learned actually made things the way they did. And it made me appreciate the company and the folks that taught me all these various things. It made me appreciate them immensely more than just they taught me to do ABC. This was an eye-opening experience. So, why? So when I saw this guy, and several guys missing and stuff, I thought, okay, well, I heard it's not terribly worn, it's not worn at all, it's not hardened out much, and yet I can hear the noise when the solenoids are operated and hit the surface. So I'm using in making my replacements. This has been under pressure and in the glue squeeze overnight. I'm using a double layer of German moth-proofed 5mm felt plus some foam. This is actually my surface that will get adhesive to the body of the solenoid, and this is the surface that will be hit by the stop at the end of the solenoid shaft. Okay, and we end up, ta-da, with the same thickness. Okay, which is kind of sort of a nice useful detail. Okay, So this is, and the reason for the felt is because it provides more cushioning. And the reason for the foam is because there is a chance of, where the location is, there is a chance of condensation building up, simply because it's exposed to the elements overnight. And there could be condensation building up on the metal part that is getting in touch here. And we know that if condensation or moisture reaches felt, what happens to felt? It gets feltier. It doesn't get fluffier, it gets more compact. Okay? More hard. More nasty. So much so that this is another piece from there. It really turns almost as hard as wood or leather. Okay? And sometimes, I guess sometimes it's desirable, but not in our case. So, in order to keep moisture, potential humidity build up from the metal part making contact with the buffer, seeping into the felt and compacting it more, we've got this foam layer. Okay? Goinky, goinky, goinky. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to, because we're going to cut our holes, our round holes, with our cutters that I explained on a different video. We're going to make this rather simple. Going to go all the way to the end here, line it up, and make a line. Let's see if that works actually. Ah, we've got a line. How cute is that? How pretty, mad. Okay, one. We're using a knife, so hopefully there will be no offcut. You know, no, like a saw blade actually takes space, takes material away. A knife just parts it. So let's hope this actually works out. So we get 5 out of here. And you recognize this if you have seen my other video, you know, how to make washers and valves on the quick with cool tools, then you know where those holes come from. Okay, and hopefully we can get 5 out of here too. That would be kind of cool, you know, just saying. Oh, look at this. How convenient. Okay. We're getting 5, 10. So now we've got that. Then we need to measure the diameter of this schnitzel and find the correct cutter to... Okay? This is a cute little thing. I love. I picked them up in a in the Austrian equivalent of a home improvement store. I thought they were so cute. When I visited my mom, I don't know, gosh, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Okay, so that's 30, 33, 34, 33, 34 millimeters. What's that in inches? It's bigger than an inch. Inch and a something. Inch and a quarter, inch and a whatever. Okay, so let's find a cutter. Here we've got our magic box. Okay. Our magic box. Who is this? Inch and 5/8. Ooh, that's big. Okay, well, we're not going to use this. Oh, this is also cool. That's actually... we'll come to this at one point. I've got this cutter in here too. It's actually from a pizza cutter, but I've filed it and honed it to be really super sharp, like a leather knife. And I use it in a certain setup for scything edges of leather for bellow making and stuff. Oh, inch and 1/8. Ah, inch and 1. Peekaboo. Too small. It's too small to eat. What did we say? Inch and a something? What does this here say? I can't read it. I can't actually make nothing out. Who are you? visual check is always cool. Oh, look at this. We've got a winner. And it says 1/1/8. So that means it cuts a hole. No, 1/3/8. So it cuts a hole of 1 1/4. Usually the wall thickness of these guys is a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and so therefore the hole it actually punches out is usually an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the nominal diameter given on the markings on the tool. Hey, cool, we've got a winner. Now all we need to do is transfer that thing into that thing. Okay, and we'll do that. Okay, so here we are again. We just loosened our little friend. Okay. This is the guy we are not going to use. Okay, we'll put him carefully back into his little house. Put these guys on top. That's why it's good to have it all crunched up, so the shafts or the shanks actually hopefully do not damage our friend. And Lord willing, this guy fits in here. Oh, we've got a winner. Cool. Doesn't feel terribly sharp. I think it doesn't feel terribly sharp anymore. It's a smart idea to put things away when they're nice and sharp. So we're going to put it into the drill press, apply our single cut file to resharpen the edge. You can actually see a little glimpse, a little on the edge. You can see, can you see that? No. Yeah, there we can. You're not supposed to see shiny bits, okay? Because that means there's no edge. If you see a shiny edge looking at you instead of just a crisp edge, if you see something shiny looking at you, that's a flat surface. That means it's blunt. And that's the same with a kitchen knife or pocket knife or anything that cuts. Okay, let's stick it in, cut them their holes, okay, and bango, we've got our new cushy wushies, okay, and then into individuals. I love it. Thank you very much. Let's do this step. I'll be back. Here we are. We found our cutter that we need in order to cut the holes for the solenoid buffers, and we found out that it's just not terribly sharp anymore, unfortunately. So we're going to hone it some more, okay? Hold it at the correct angle. And because this is hard steel and this is, well, meant for something else, at times use an area of your file that you know that you usually don't need for other hand file projects, okay? And if that ringing annoys you, then you're always welcome to wear ear protection, which is precisely what we're going to do. So if it whistles and it hurts your ears, just turn the volume down as you're listening, okay? Sorry. Okay, I like to blow schnitzel away. Remember to clean your file. Feel inside for burrs. No, but oh, we've created a nice sharp edge. And now we're just going to place it in the middle and hope that our eyes are not too crossed and we can actually cut holes plus minus in the middle. Shall we see? The way I find the middle way I find the more or less middle of this place is that I look this way and center by eye the tool between the two lines, and then I look this way and center the tool by eye between the outer edges, and that's all. Okay, because there's play and room and so on. You just have to not mess it up too badly, and then we're good. Okay, so look this way and put your tool close. Put your tool close to the cutting surface without cutting, because then you can much easier center it by eye. Okay, then hold it down firm. Bingo. And because it's so fat, 1, 2, 3, we know that we're filling up our little body rather quickly. Is it just me or is it windy out there? Oh, and look what we're getting. We're getting something cool. We keep those. They might come in handy, okay? And I tell you what we do. Look. You see this box? This is where those guys go. This is a travel box. I just take it with me. See? Travel kit. So odd things, offcuts and stuff go in here. So if I ever need a piece of felt, a cushion or something, clear, I can see it, then I can apply it right there on the job at the instrument. It's very handy. Or modify a piece, an offcut. Let's cut another couple, guys. Remember, bring it close to the surface without cutting into it. Look from one side and then look from the other side. And then when you're kind of sort of happy, and your mind can't position it better, take the plunge and cut it in. Okay? And if you find that you actually didn't put it into the middle, you know, this is kind of fairly okay, I think. If you find that you look this way, you look that way, and it's still not quite in the middle where you like it, it's okay. Practice. Practice, practice. Okay? You need to take those guys out. Oh, they're lovely. Don't they look like little chocolate cakes? Little Sachertorten. Sorry.
I've got a wicked sense of humor, I know. No problem, hey? Chagarak, chagarak.
Now remember, bring it close down, center it visually from one side, center it visually from the other side, hold it firm down and cut.
Cut.
Visually from one side, visually from the other side, slightly adjust, down. And since we've got it kind of, we're cutting thick stuff, unfortunately we need to stop every now and then and take our little Sachertorten out, okay? Sacherschnitten. Aren't they cute? I love it. Anyway, but as my wife confirms nearly every day, I'm not normal. That's okay. Bring it close, visually put it in the middle here, visually put it in the middle there, and close your eyes and cut it. No, don't close your eyes, you don't want to chop off your fingers. Bring it in the middle, close, close. Okay, and sorry, but I don't think we can safely cut the last dude. Cut the last Sachertorte out of the solenoid. Buff, buff. Dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da bum bum. And middle it, bring the cutter close down to your workpiece. And then when you're happy, then you just take the plunge and make the cut. Okie dokie. And since we're done, because we are out of material, we can actually take it out. And remember, we had the depth of the drill press adjusted so that this guy, pardon me, just barely cut into the surface. Okay. See, one more Sachertorte, but there should be. See, there's one more hiding in there. Now we want to get it out, but we don't want to mess up our cutting edge. So when you're poking in there, never let your knife or tool or screw or whatever, you can turn a screw in there and pull it out if you want to, but never let it touch the edge, because that's the cutting edge, okay? And then take the Schnipfenpitzen out. Beautiful. And see, there's some fuzzies. But anyway, here's our last Sachertorte. Chocolate ganache covered. Oh, and there's some Krabben die schnutzen inside and everywhere. Well, it's okay. Wrap it up again gently with blue tape or soft tape that doesn't, doesn't stick too well. Painter's tape. And leave a little cushion on the top, so when you put it in and put something else on top, it doesn't immediately sit on top. Okay, cool, done. Next step. Okay, welcome here now, once again. I hope you had a sip of coffee or tea or something. Here, we've drilled the holes. We are ready to trim them into individual buffers. So let's do it. Now, I'm using this here. Okay, which is simply a very wide chisel that I purchased in New York City in 1980, I don't know, 6, 5, somewhere around there. See, still cuts all right. American chisels are always short. I think it was a Stanley. I think it's made by Stanley, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, and for some reason, chisels are not long like the European ones. They're not meant to stay with you and with your family for generations. They're supposed to be, I think they're supposed to also be sold to people who don't know how to sharpen them at times. Anyway, so we're just going to cut those into individuals. Now remember, this is shaped like a V partition, so it's okay actually to come in at a slight angle in order to end up with a more or less vertical cut. Just remember to have that angle always the same, okay? And I made a little house for it. It's actually a small little piece of American walnut from wood joinery that I've done to make a back for an American little reed organ that lives in Vorarlberg, Austria now, since 30 some years, 35 years. Anyway, that's another long story. So we're just going to cut our little Sachertorte chocolate brownie buffers into individual guys. Okay, it's important to never mind that you hold it at an angle, actually still push down vertically, okay, in order to end up with a more or less vertical edge here, okay? So, we are busy, we're still busy, making 10 of these cute things. So we only need, I think, 7. The reason is why we're making 10 is so we've got a couple spare to put into a safe, secure container at the worksite for the future. Somebody needs something, okay? It can be, nobody has to go to the extent of, oh, where did we get the material for this now? Okay. Oh, look, there's a parts baggie or tin or whatever. Cool. Let's just take out what we need and put it back. Always think to make life a little bit friendlier for the next person down the road, okay? Oh, and this fella here, this chisel that I'm using, usually, I keep it nicely honed, usually I'm actually using it for trimming cone-tuned organ pipes to length. Mixture pipes and other cool things. That's nice and sharp, usually. So I'm not using it, I bought it for carpentry work on the work site in New York City while we were installing a pipe organ, a brand new pipe organ. I bought it for its width, for a particular purpose, project there. But since then, because it started off its life short, I simply use it for pipe work usually. Okay, these are our little buddies. Isn't that cool? We've got, how many do we have now? 10, I hope. Yes. 10 new buffers. I think this is cool. But then, that's what happens when you're having fun at work. Okay? See, isn't it fun? Sorry. I don't know, where's the schnitzel camera? There. Back up. How do I do this? Okay, there we go. Oh, and there are fuzzies inside. Well, we'll take them out. Okay? Well, we'll clean every piece before we actually install it. Well, thank you for watching. This is how you make Sachertorte chocolate flavored solenoid buffers. And thank you for visiting and hanging out at the Wilhelmy School of Organ Building.